Hebrews. This is Prophets of Awakening. This is our evening Sabbath class, the 24th of December, 2022. What I'll be doing is I'm just gonna play some more of the video that I played last night on the false Black Hebrew movement. You got a false movement, just like you got a false end times. You got two Enochs. You got two Lamechs. Two Methuselahs. It's a duplicate because of what these Edomites have done. They duplicated everything. You gotta understand that. Okay. And we're gonna go to our I'm asking everybody to go to our YouTube channel, Prophets of Awakening, and check out our videos. There's a lot of information that is given. Okay. What's up, Tosh? Go to our YouTube videos, Prophets of Awakening, and check out our videos. A lot of information that's given. And the videos will connect dots for you and bring you into the truth of the Holy Scriptures, which is the Tanakh. And if you like what you're hearing and receiving on the channel, I'm asking you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It'll be appreciated. And for those that don't know, this is a non-Messianic channel, which is we deal with the Tanakh and the Torah. The Tanakh is the Old Testament, and the Torah is the first 5 books of the Old Testament that was given to Moses on Mount Sinai. So shalom and welcome to Prophets of Awakening, and welcome to our evening Shabbat class. We're going to do our normal, which is our moment of silence. We're going to do our evening Sabbath prayer, some Psalms, some current events, a little need to know information. Then we'll open it up for some Q&A, and then we'll go into the Sabbath topic. The topic for the Sabbath, which is the demonic false Black Hebrew Israelites. Okay. So this moment of silence is for the Lord of hosts and all that He's doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance in these last days. Okay. Oh Lord, we are coming before Thee at the closing of Your Shabbat, thanking You for Your mercy and Your great power. And we appreciate You, oh Lord, for Your patience and guidance in these last days. And oh Lord, we thank You for awakening us to this great understanding of Your word. And we come before You that You keep, direct, and guide us through the upcoming week. And oh Lord, there are trials and pestilence and mayhem at every turn. And we see Your mighty hand in the world's affairs and how You're constructing Your people's deliverance. And we trust and rely upon Thee. And for this cause, we honor and respect You greatly. Turn not Thy face from us, but allow us in our searching of You to find You, O Lord, and to dwell with You. Peace be on You. Okay. Let me read a psalm right quick. Okay. Read Psalm 37. Okay. Okay. Psalm 37 is the true state of the wicked. It's a psalm of David. It says, "Fret not thyself because of evildoers, neither be thou envious against the workers of iniquity, for they shall soon be cut down like the green herb, and wither as the green, and cut down as the grass, and wither as the green herb. Trust in the Lord, do good, and so shalt thou dwell in the land, and verily thou shalt be fed. Delight thyself also in the Lord, and He shall give thee the desire of thine heart. Commit thy way unto the Lord, trust also in Him, and He shall bring it to pass. And He shall bring forth thy righteousness as the light, and thy judgment as the noonday. Rest in the Lord, wait patiently for Him. Fret not thyself because of him who prospers in his way, because of the man who bringeth wicked devices to pass. Cease from anger, and forsake wrath. Fret not thyself in any wise to do evil, for evildoers shall be cut off. But those that wait upon the Lord, they shall inherit the earth. For yet a little while, and the wicked shall not be. Yea, thou shalt diligently consider his place, and it shall not be. but the meek shall inherit the earth, and shall delight themselves in the abundance of peace. The wicked plotteth against the just, and gnasheth upon him with his teeth. The Lord shall laugh at him, for he seeth that his day is coming. The wicked have drawn out the sword, have bent their bow, to cast down the poor and needy, and to slay such as be of an upright conversation. Their sword shall enter into their own heart, and their bows shall be broken. A little that a righteous man have is better than the riches of many wicked. For the arm of the wicked shall be broken, but the Lord upholdeth the righteous. The Lord knoweth the days of the upright, and their inheritance shall be forever. They shall not be ashamed in evil times, and in the days of famine they shall be satisfied. But the wicked shall perish, and the enemies of the Lord shall be as the fat of lambs. They shall consume, into smoke shall they consume away. The wicked borrow and payeth not again, but the righteous showeth mercy and giveth. For such as be of him shall inherit the earth, and they that be cursed of him shall be cut off. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delighteth in his way. Though he fall, he shall not utterly be cast down, for the Lord upholdeth him. I have been young, and now I am old, yet I have not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. He is ever merciful and lendeth, and his seed is blessed. Depart from evil, do good, and dwell forevermore. For the Lord loveth judgment, and forsaketh not his saints. They are preserved forever. But the seed of the wicked shall be cut off. The righteous shall inherit the land, dwell therein forever. The mouth of the righteous speaketh wisdom, and his tongue talketh of judgment. The law of God is in his heart. None of his steps shall slide. The wicked watcheth the righteous, and seeketh to slay him. The Lord will not leave him in his hands, nor condemn him when he is judged. Wait on the Lord, keep his way, and he shall exalt thee to inherit the land. When the wicked are cut off, thou shalt see it. I have seen the wicked in great power, and spreading himself like a green bay tree. Yet he passed away, and lo, he was not. Yea, I sought him, but he could not be found. Mark the perfect man, behold the upright, for the end of that man is peace. But the transgressors shall be destroyed together. The end of the wicked shall be cut off. But the salvation of the righteous is of the Lord. He is their strength in the time of trouble. And the Lord shall help them and deliver them. He shall deliver them from the wicked and save them because they trust in him. Okay, that was Psalm 37, a true state of the wicked. Psalm of David. Okay. Anybody have any comments on that? Okay. We're going to go ahead and go to current events. Okay. On this TJ Holmes and Amy Robeck thing. We'll check out and see how it's turning out. Okay. We get it. Okay.
Amy Robach. She'll be back on Good Morning America 3 next week. Watch. TJ Holmes. They say he's going to remain suspended indefinitely. Amy, the media caught up with her yesterday, and she says it's kind of over now. The relationship with TJ or Good Morning America. And then she advised the media to get a life. They're saying that TJ is not being punished for his affair with Amy Robach, and it's an affair because he was married. It's not that. It's the other women at Good Morning America. Yes, the producers, other women, they're looking into it. Were you over them in some kind of way? It's a whole subordinate thing. In a statement, this is a distraction, saying TJ Holmes is a distraction to other women of Good Morning America. TJ getting his ninja wake up call. And y'all know what I mean when I say ninja. He's getting that wake up call because he's going to be made the scapegoat. Now, the cheating on his wife part, you can't dip and do. You can't dip and do. Married man, you can't walk around here like you're single, things that the single man does. You had a commitment, wife, daughter, everything is in shambles. You blew everything, everything. Amy still got a job. TJ, you blew everything. I'm sure they're going to ABC because he had been at CNN, NBC, MSNBC, CNN. Did I say BET? Yeah, he's gonna have to go back to BET. Was just the best job ever. But he was thinking with the wrong head. If you sleeping around here with these women, you better go find Javis. Javis Smiley. You better go find Matt Lauer. It doesn't end good. And if one of these women says it, just something else happened, it's done. It's done. But Amy, she's gonna be right back there in that chair. Good Morning America next week. Wait, and then wait, they're already looking for this replacement. They got a guy on there. I don't know his name. I didn't get his name. He looks like TJ. He just, bald head, light skin. And he looking like, is that TJ? And then you see it isn't. I said, why are they playing? They got some guy to make you think, it's TJ. They're testing out other people to see how they're going to move forward with this show. But for TJ, you have learned the hardest lesson of your life. The hardest lesson. It don't pay to be sleeping around on the job. It just doesn't. Do your stuff somewhere else. And if you're married and you want to be out here, please get a divorce. Just go get a divorce and just put everybody up in misery and just go on and live your best life.
Okay, any comments on that? Anybody familiar with TJ Holmes' story?
Yes, I thought that they were supposed to be getting married.
Oh, no.
I watched that like a day ago where he had said that his plans were to marry her.
Well, they're not bringing him back. They're bringing her back, not him.
Right, yeah, I heard that too. Yeah.
Quite sure that's gonna affect the situation because I
Right,
mean, to me that's being biased.
right.
Yeah. So what's up, Charles?
I hope you guys can understand me. I just, to me, it's just like a continuation of an ongoing narrative that they have with
Right,
constantly portraying this image to us
right,
of a black man desiring and wanting to be with a white woman, and until they bring them down, that this is what we're going to continue to see. I guess I'm just disgusted with it, and I'm
right.
disgusted with him for even playing into it. I mean, what I heard of
Right.
the story. Go ahead, babe.
Go ahead. I'm confirming what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the ongoing narrative that they have, and I mean, the other part of it was that it wasn't just her. What's coming out now is that there's multiple women at the office that he had
Right,
affairs with. She's just the latest one. But to me,
right.
like I said, it's just a continuation of this narrative. They want to see us with anybody else but our own. And and
Exactly.
I and I, and I personally am just sick of it.
Right. And then they want to make it like he a predator, and the women can't help themselves. You know, he a predator like a lion or something. They can't. He just overpowering the women.
Right,
So yeah, like he, yeah. So some kind of like, sexual demon or something. But
right. And
anyway, go ahead.
no, I was just agreeing with you, and I was gonna say, and that comes way, way back from slavery. That every
Yeah, right,
time, a nice looking black man, and a white woman is attracted to him, it's him wanting her, not she wanting him, and he seduced her or
Right.
beguiled her in some kind of way.
Right. Yeah. And another thing I've been paying attention to, what like I was saying before, what I'm gonna talk about later on about these Israelite groups with that doing the most, they are all paid operatives. So like for instance, I don't know if anybody familiar with the boxer the tall dude, the heavyweight black dude. I think his name is I can't think of his name. Anyway, he's supposed to be a Hebrew Israelite, but he knocking out all these other people in the first round and knocking them cold out. But he fighting this white dude, uh, Tyler something, big old tall white dude. The white dude beat him 3 times. Now they got the number 4 fight coming up. So it's like the black man can't, he can beat everybody else, but he can't beat the white dude. And then he got Israel Asante. I don't know if anybody know that, the UFC fighter, Israel Asante. Anybody know him?
I've seen him.
Yeah, he got beat out. He
Yes.
got beat a couple of months ago. All of them, they'll blow him up, but they not gonna, they're gonna embarrass him. Just like Dion lost that last game. He was 13-0, 12-0, and then he went to the finals of the HBCU, and then he lose the last game. It just that to me, there ain't no coincidence because
No,
we see every day on TikTok Negroes knocking out white folks and black women knocking out white women. We see that on TikTok every day. So all of a sudden now, they get up to the top of the escalon, but the very top, they can't seem to manage to stay there. They get, they fall. So what you saying?
this is Tasha. I mean, I just, of course, I like history, but you look back at when before integration came, when they would have these big fights and stuff, heavyweight champion fights, they always build these fights up with
Yeah,
a black man and a white man,
right,
and they would lose their mind if the black man won. So
right.
and then they would go out and kill people and lynch them because of what this one fight did and what it represents. They've always known
Mhm.
about the messaging. They've just
Right.
been working over the years to get the messaging right.
Oh
And
yeah,
that's
they
what they're
got it
doing to
right.
use on us now.
Right, they got it right. They didn't spite right. Just like I was telling them about. They've been tampering with mind control, MK Ultra forever. They got that down pat. They was messing with MK Ultra and mind control way back in the 40s and 30s. They got it down pat to the point where you being manipulated mentally and don't even know it. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, play this right here. This right here to me is very ridiculous. Check this out. Here we go. And this got to go back to, like I said, these are Israelite groups, which is say they ain't number paid operatives because they done made this 12 child chart and got the Hawaiians as Israelites, Mexicans Israelites, and all that. That's chaos. Check this out.
Conversation is now being not only spoken by us, but it's spoken by people at the government level now. You have New York talking about wanting to do a commission for slavery. You have, of course, California with their commission. They have given a recommendation saying that Black Americans in California who are the descendants of enslaved Africans who was toiling this land, deserve, $230,000+, and not only the white supremacists were upset, but in California you have the anti-Black Latinos that was upset as well.
Check it out.
You have this female here; she's Latino, and she has a big problem with it, and she's been on TikTok with a lot of this anti-Black racism. And
Just
let's
cross the
I want
water.
to just go through her video.
You just crossed the
Here,
Rio.
actually, there's 2 of them I want to go through. We'll stop it as we keep going because people like her need a reality check about even their position here in America. But let's go ahead and get it.
Newsom in California wants to hand out $500 billion in reparations. Over 40% of the population in California is Latino. You're having people who were the object of persecution pay for the reparations of people who just don't want to work.
Okay, 40%. Why are you 40% of California first and foremost? And why are you talking about tax dollars? First and foremost, you wouldn't have been allowed to come over here if it wouldn't been for black people fighting to get the immigration bill and fighting to have the civil rights movement. If you actually knew your history in this country, they didn't want you here either. They said no blacks, no Mexicans, no Irish, no anybody, right? That's what they were saying. You didn't get any of those set-asides or benefits that you're getting right now if it wouldn't been for black folk. So yeah, you're gonna pay some reparations. You sure are gonna pay. Call that a thank you tax. Call it that if you want to call it anything else. Say thank you for the fight, black folks. I got to come over here to a country that's not my own and actually get something out of it.
California is home to over 11 million immigrants from all over the world, not just Latinos. Immigrants who came here with less than nothing, not being able to speak English, who
That's
managed
not
to
our
build their wealth.
problem.
Exactly.
That's not our problem.
That's crazy, man.
That's not our problem. We don't care.
That's crazy.
Without leeching off of other Americans.
Oh, yes, you did. Yes, you did. In order for you to come here and work, somebody had to die for it, mainly black people. Because at one point in time, white people wouldn't let nobody in here. Unless you was European, coming from over there, you wasn't being allowed to come into this country. So no, ma'am.
Up until 1848, California belonged to Mexico. Slavery ended in 1860.
Take that up with the United States government. Why are you telling us about that? If you take an issue, and you are, okay, you mentioned in Mexico. Ma'am, Mexico is literally the first country you get to outside the United States of America. If you're pissed off about reparations, you don't want to pay anything, ma'am, your homeland is right there. Why aren't you there building up your homeland, ma'am? Why are you sitting up here pissed off and making comments about black folk when your homeland is right there? Do you think if the African continent was right there on the doorstep of the United States, that I wouldn't be saying a whole lot of nothing? I said, man, I'm going right there. Shoot,
Exactly.
That's my homeland. That's where my people originally from. You making all these demands, and your homeland is literally right around the corner.
There was only over 1,500 slaves in California, and their only job was mining. They didn't build California.
Lies.
At all. If you look at any construction working team in California, mostly Latinos.
Yeah, that's true. That is totally true because there's more Latinos there. I mean, that state had a open border policy. So yeah, I mean, come on, about the majority.
Slaves didn't build California. Free people with dreams did. Not to mention that Latinos are part Native American, which they were slaves as well, and massacred at 90% of the population. This is probably...
Okay, so why aren't you getting those Native American set-asides given out by the U.S. government? I mean, you...
Okay. Any comments on that?
This is Tasha again. I want to give other people an opportunity to talk, so please just speak up. But I think it's interesting to watch all of this stuff come into pass. It was something in the news this week. I don't know if anybody else heard about it. The prime minister or whoever is the guy over the government in the Netherlands offered an official apology on behalf of his country for slavery.
Right.
And then there was something, another article where these a bunch of Asian groups got together demanding reparations for black people. Now all of a sudden, it just seemed like out of nowhere to me that everybody's all of a sudden is talking about reparations when they'd kill you first before to even mention it. And now all of a sudden around the world, you're starting to hear not only about monetary reparations, direct payments, but they're talking about giving back the treasures and stuff that they stole that's in these museums, like in England and other places in the West.
Right.
And it's like something, it feels like they know something is coming and they're trying to prepare, but at the same time, they want to do the bare minimum. They're going to be forced to do what's right, but they're fighting it tooth and nail. That's my comment.
Right. The thing is like I was saying in previous classes, is that you got the Edomite banker, the international banker, which is Jacob had a brother called Esau. They run the world with the banking system. They own most of the money in the world. They the ones dictating everything. They got their own end times. They done plotted up, and that's what they know coming. They plot. They got all this stuff plotted up. When you look at it, they working. It's like an octopus. They got all these different things going. Like what they did with Kanye West and Kyrie Irving. All that's part of their plan. They want to. We waking up to the. They see us. They monitoring us because of this TikTok and all these social media outlets. They ain't nothing but they tied to the Pentagon, so they actually observing us and monitoring us, and they see that we waking up to the point was the hook they gave us was JC, and they see that it's a lot of people starting to realize that, and they starting to turn away from them. So they got these operatives that they got out there to backdoor it by saying, yeah, you Israelites, but we Israelites for Christ. They trying to turn everybody back to Christ, because that's how they ended up ruling the world when they concocted JC and brought him on the scene. They used him in order to go and conquer all these countries, turn all these people into Christians, and they look up. They got a Bible. All of them got Bibles, but they lost all their land and all their resources. And that's how they did it. So, especially the African American, they waking up in droves, understanding who they are, understanding the trick that they didn't pull on them. So they trying to counter it with all this stuff they got going on. And that's
Man,
what they yeah, go ahead.
man, I wanted to ask a question for anyone, including your Uncle Leonard, about this thing going on at the border. Now, thinking back in time, California, Texas, all those countries were populated by, I mean, they belonged to Mexico. The United
Right,
States stole those countries, or stole those states, and incorporated to help make America.
right.
I don't know. Sometimes I think about those people just coming back repopulating those areas because time is coming back to where things are going back to where they used to be.
Right. That's
I
natural.
right, and I just want to see what your thoughts were on that.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's just like these rivers. We had a conversation about the river drying up. Well, what then happened is those rivers' natural courses, they ran their natural courses for years. They came in and dammed them up in certain places and turned the river go another way and all that. And that's what a lot of the problem is, these rivers drying up. They didn't tamper with them, and they tamper with their natural course and the natural way that the river would flow. They done dammed them up in certain places and all that stuff. And so same thing with that. You were saying how the Indian he pretty much occupied North America, and they was all over the place. They came in and pushed them out of their certain areas, and over time, all they doing is migrating, and nature taking this course, and they coming back to those areas where they came from. But they got them. They done came in and restructured the land, renamed it, put up boundaries and borders and all that, and it's looking like it's a whole different um, outlook when you come. Like for instance, I tell you something that's really a lot of people don't pay attention to, and everybody that went to history know it. The Louisiana Purchase. It wasn't no such thing as Tennessee, Georgia, all that. All that was Louisiana. When we first came here, that whole Mississippi was Louisiana, and so New Orleans, it was like New York back then. Everything came in through the Gulf of Mexico through New Orleans. New Orleans was a megatropolis. But over time, they set up borders and draw lines and all that. You got Florida, Mississippi. You got all these different states now. But at one time, that whole region was called the Louisiana Purchase. And a lot of people don't understand. And so you have all these different conflicts and things going on. But it goes back to how they disrupted the natural settings that the land had, like with Africa. That's the reason Africa in shambles. They came in and split the land up, put borders up, and all the people are the same people, but they came in and put borders up. Now you got people that's actually kin to these folks over here, but they enemies with them because of these borders they didn't draw. You know, and that's how they operate. Okay. Did I answer the question?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So with anybody got any more comments on that or anything? Yeah, I'm gonna play some need to know information right here. I thought this was pretty interesting too. Okay, let me get it. They just recently, Biden just recently had all those African uh, African kings over here for last week. Check this out.
Right? So like I said right here where it says the limitations forced them to deal with Africans as equal business partners. After all, the business of slavery had existed in Africa and had been controlled by the African elite since the 7th century. Some historians estimate that before the arrival of Europeans in the 15th century, Africans had sold upward of 11 million slaves to the Islamic world. So the arrival of Europeans and especially of the new consumer goods changed slavery forever. Eager to obtain guns, liquor, and other Western products, Africans engaged in widespread raids that brought millions of captives to slave castles on the coast. These raids generated new wars across the continent, which in turn generated fresh supplies of slaves. Wars make gold scarce, but Negroes plenty, a 17th century trader wrote. He said, wars make gold scarce, but Negroes plenty. So they got to fighting and taking their own people into slavery so they can get liquor and mirrors. And
okay, so let's look at that because I think that a lot of this going over a lot of people's head. So what's going on with this situation right here is, like I said, the Lord of hosts had promised Abraham, he had promised Isaac, and he promised Jacob that he was going to multiply, especially Abraham, he's going to multiply his seed as the sands of the sea, as the stars of heaven. So that's like an innumerable multitude of people. And he had accomplished that. But they turning away from him. So he ended up bringing the Greeks in there, and they tore down the temple, and they ran the Israelites out. They fled into Africa. So you got this humongous multitude of people that came into Africa, and everybody know that but us. So all these people, and they was told because of the history with Egypt being in slavery in Egypt all those years, and the hatred that the Egyptian had for them, right? The Egyptian is a product, the Put, Canaan, and Cush is Ham's children, but Enoch the Egyptian is product from the fallen angels. That's when the fallen angels came down sleeping with the women. That's where Egyptians came from. So they got a hatred for the Israelite because of what happened when the Lord came there and shut Egypt down and brought those 10 plagues. So later on, here these Hebrews that came back and flooded into the land of Israel, land of Africa, fleeing from where they got their land taken from them by the Greeks. So that's what the setting is. So he promised them that he, just like I multiplied you in Deuteronomy 28, he said, I'm gonna reduce you. That's what we're looking at. That's what's going on right here. And they can trade us so easily because they hate us. They keep saying African, we're not Africans. All these people fled into Africa They were Israelites, and they fled into Africa. They don't like them, so they got this big multitude of people. They trading them like sheep, making money off of them, like the guy just said. Yeah, it was so many of them because of the promise that he had gave to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It was more than them. They was worth more than gold. The people wanted them more than they wanted to go. So, like I said, long before they came and got us and brought us over here from the West Coast, they was already trading them. They was already picking off of that big multitude in the Arab slave trade on the other side of in the Pacific. They was already trading. The Arabs that bit was trading us for 700 years before the transatlantic slave trade. And so, like I was saying before, you got to look at that, because where is that in the scripture? The 700 years that they were trading Arabs. What is that in the scripture? Everybody focusing on talking about the 400 years, but what about the 700, 800 years that before that? That's not in prophecy. The Most High looked over that. He didn't prophesy that. So anyway, that's what I'm just giving you the setting the stage for what this guy is talking about.
And guns that don't hardly shoot the same way the so-called what you call Native Americans traded guns with them the same way. You understand? They cut the check, but how you gonna cut the check to the person that sold the slaves? How you gonna apologize to Africans that sold their people into slavery? Why are you apologizing to them for slavery before you apologize to actual slaves that did the work? So let's say your daddy give me you and your sister, and I take you and your sister and I beat you and your sister and make you work. Who should I apologize to first? The ones I beat or to the daddy? So I should apologize to the daddy for giving me y'all, or I should apologize to y'all for taking y'all and beating y'all. Your daddy need to apologize to you. Instead of him apologizing to the Africans must apologize to us. And until Black Africa does us right, Black Americans, Africa will be cursed forever. Africa will never stand up and be strong until they pay us and do us right. Oh my soul. So let it be written, so let it be done. Put that in the universe. Africa will always be a hellhole, and there'll be nothing but death and destruction in Africa until they take care of their children they abandoned. Oh my soul. Oh, everything I love. Africa will never be nothing until they respect us. Traditional African rulers whose ancestors collaborated with European and Arab slave traders should follow Britain and the United States by publicly saying sorry, according to the Human Rights Organization. The Civil Rights Congress of Nigeria has written a tribal chief saying we cannot continue to blame the white man, as Africans, particularly the traditional rulers, are not blameless. That's what the Nigerians said.
Okay, so like I was saying before, we on top of being delivered, but because we going along with the narrative that they didn't gave us out of that day book, we going along with that narrative. So guess who Nigeria is? I said this before. Nigeria is Ephraim. That's who they are. They're Ephraimites. So he told us in Deuteronomy in Ezekiel 37 that he's gonna bring Judah. Let me read that. You're gonna bring Judah and Ephraim back together again and make them one stick. So it's playing out in front of our Facebook. We looking for the Antichrist. Okay, look at this. I'm in Ezekiel 37. It says in Ezekiel 37, the valley of dry bones. I'm in the restoration of the United Israel, because Israel was split up, the northern and southern kingdom. Ephraim was over the northern kingdom, and Judah was over the southern kingdom. So on in verse 15, 37 and 15, the word of the Lord came again unto me, saying, moreover, thou son of man, take one stick and write upon it for Judah and for the children of Israel, for the children of Israel and his companions. Then take another stick and write upon it for Joseph, the stick of Ephraim, and for all the house of Israel and his companions. Join them one another into one stick, and they shall become one in thy hand. And when the children of thy people shall speak unto thee, saying, wilt thou not show us what thou meanest by these? Okay. The stick of Joseph, which is in the hand of Ephraim and the tribe of Israel, his fellows, and I will put them with him, even with the stick of Judah, and make them one stick, and they shall become one in mine hand. And the sticks whereon thou shalt write it shall be in thy hand before thine eyes. So that's what we witness starting to transform itself right in front of our face. That's why you see all this stuff going on, but they didn't give us a whole nother false narrative. Like I said, they got their own end time they didn't concoct. It's over in the New Testament. Okay, so these people right here, like I said, it was a humongous multitude. When you think about all those, it was 12 tribes. Each one of those tribes was a nation. And during the time of the Greeks and Antioch Epiphanes and all that big multitude fled into Africa. And they are on the west side of Africa. There was nobody never living there. That's how big Africa was. That was number open country and grasslands until Israel fled. Was ran out of their land, out of Israel. They fled over there, and everybody in the world, especially in that region, knew that. They knew that, and they was plotting and planning on how to get in there and get all their resources and how to get them out. And that's when they came up with the first of all, Mansa Musa came on the scene with all that gold and brought attention to the region. Then they came with the slave ships. But like I said, the end times right is playing out in front of our face, but we ain't, they didn't gave us a false narrative. We ain't reading it right. That's why Lord of Hosts is raising up Israelites now and showing them they're breaking it down. And that's what they trying to counter with these fake Israelite groups they bringing up. It's still holding on to JC, trying to counter it. Okay. Anybody familiar with what happened last week with the African leaders came over here for the week?
I saw it. I was watching it. And
Yeah.
what I thought was funny is some of them laughed at him, at
Oh yeah.
Biden.
The Uganda president. Right.
They laughed at him. And Ghana
Right.
was one of the countries, I think it was in 2019, they had the year to return. And what
Right.
I thought was
Exactly.
interesting about that was, and it wasn't publicized. I read about it and I saw it in a couple of places, how there was a delegation from the House of Representatives led by Nancy Pelosi and that guy, the congressman from I think Chicago. He died, but
Right.
they are doing the year to return. All of them led a delegation over to Ghana, and they
Right.
never explained what they did or why they were there.
Right.
I had
Right.
never seen that about that. What do you know about that? And can you speak on that?
That's what I'm saying. It goes all the way back to that. They constantly they got a plan and it's like herd like cattle or sheep. They herd us in a certain direction, and then, because we've been brainwashed and hoodwinked so long, they can bring anything and lead us in any direction they want us to go in. It's like I was saying about this. We waking up. They got our records. It's a bunch of our records that we don't have no access to. They got them and they looking at them and they seeing them being fulfilled. So when they see us waking up and we start talking about we ain't dealing with JC no more, that's a serious problem, because they didn't put in trillions and trillions and billions of dollars to dumb us down and to keep us following after JC. So now they see us shaking that off. They coming with from all these different angles, bringing in all these sellout Negroes and operatives, pushing a certain agenda. Like I said, they leaving the churches in flocks. So they coming back with pastors that's having Hebrew conferences or Hebrew churches, putting Hebrew names on it, but they still dealing with Christ. All these folks paid, and then they coming out of nowhere with all kind of money. From out of nowhere, these camps coming out of nowhere with all this money to go online and produce all these videos. So all of it is planned and plotted. It ain't nothing you looking at or nothing that's happening that they ain't plotting and planning. Yeah, that's what that is. Okay. Anybody else got anything on that? So they got those African leaders bought and paid for. They brought them over here for for a big show. Like I was saying the other night, they didn't came from every angle they possibly can, promising us reparations, something that's owed us. And now they see right now what's coming up the next 2 years. If they don't, they can't kick the can down the road no more, because if they don't, if they haven't done this by 2024, by the time the election start, they ain't getting no black vote. They're gonna get wiped out in the House, in the House of Representatives, the Senate, and the presidency. They're gonna get wiped out in all areas. So they got to figure out. They got to give us something this time. If they don't, it's over. It's gonna be over for the Democratic Party, and they know that. Okay. So, if nobody have anything on that, we're gonna go to our Q&A. Anybody got any comments or questions about anything they came across or they came in contact with over the week or while they were studying and researching? Any questions? Shalom, Mike. Shalom, Markel. Shalom, my brother. Y'all only. Okay. So anybody got any questions or comments about anything? Okay, let's chew on this right here, and then we'll go into the lesson about these fake Israelites. Okay. Let me get it. Okay.
Leadership or being in charge or any of that kind of stuff, because we only produce chaos. We don't solve problems, we introduce problems. Okay? We are not good problem solvers because we don't have foresight. We don't have the proper amount of foresight. We don't have the proper amount of capacity to take responsibility and accountability for the entire group. And to take the L, if it's an L, along with the W, we only like the W's, we don't like the L's. We like to blame other people. It's a whole host of things that is inherent in a female's nature that simply does not lend itself to anything pertaining to being in charge of a community, in charge of a family, in charge of a society, in charge of a nation. There's just nothing about women that lends us favorably to that position. Feminism, on the whole, is a problem for every woman in this society. So when he talked about the Asian woman, the white woman, the Hispanic woman, if China had allowed a gynocracy to be created, they'd be doing the same stuff. Okay? Their country would be worth nothing. Be two plug niggas, okay? It wouldn't be worth two plug niggas at all, because women are in charge and women should not be in charge. I don't care where she comes from. It doesn't make her better to be in charge. Okay? A better woman doesn't mean a woman that's better to be in charge. A better woman means a more feminine woman, a woman that understands her role as a woman. That's a better woman. But over here in America, a gynocracy has been allowed to form. And there's no more potent of a gynocracy than the one in the Black community. This one is the one that is the most dangerous. See, feminism itself is a problem for every woman in the society. but Black women get a worse rap for it because of how far they take it. Because it's not feminism anymore, it is a gynocracy, and it is extremely dangerous as well to the men that are involved in the gynocracy, specifically Black men. When I say involved in the gynocracy, I mean victims of it. Having just been born into it, born into a culture that supports that, and then him having to find his way out of it, and all of that sort of thing, okay? How far Black women take it. It's a genuine hatred that hyenas have, that Black hyenas have, for Black men, for Black male masculinity, for Black male authority, for everything that concerns a Black man, be he young or old, be he, no matter what he is, rich or poor, doesn't matter. Black women have a genuine hatred for Black men. It is more than contempt. It is actual hatred of them, and they prove it in every possible way that they can. And what feminism does with Black women, and which is why it gets exacerbated, is because it gives Black women the right combination of biological backing, cultural backing, and environmental backing and leverage to weaponize that hatred and really turn it into something that is truly and actively dangerous for Black men. We need only look at the current thing of what's going on with Tory Lanez, with being found guilty after Megan Thee Stallion and Kelsey Harris concocted a lie. Basically, they're not even friends anymore, but they're friends of sisterhood enough to get this lie out, to where Tory Lanez is found guilty on all charges and could face up to a maximum of 22 years in prison and then deportation after the prison sentence. And then you got a lot of Black women who are cheering. They're literally all over social media. They are cheering. They're like, yay, Megan got to put a Black man down. And she got to, triumph and utilize the system over Black men. She utilized her biology as a woman. She utilized the culture of, protect Black women, and women are under the feet of men, and women are these vulnerable victims of all manhood and patriarchy and blah, 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 blah. And the environmental, the use of the legal system, the use of the court system in order to do what? Publicly lynch and ruin a Black man. So this is an example, this is a prime example of the active weaponization, the active danger that these hyenas present on a daily basis to Black men. Jason Whitlock said something else. If you allowed it, women to rule, it ends up looking like the South Side of Chicago. What is it talking about? South Side of Chicago, what is that? It's a war zone, essentially. And we got a lot of young Black men deleting each other and all of those sorts of things. But one of the nuances that lead to that on many of occasions, not 100% of the time, but many of the occasions, one of the nuances and things that lead to that is Black women being in charge. Not only a lot of times Black women are the catalyst for things escalating into, one guy got mad, found the other one in his ox and blah, blah, blah. But we also have this single motherhood thing that we glorify and that we put on a pedestal. And what that does is it raises men, it raises boys without the influence of men to help them manage their masculinity as they grow. In other words, women can't raise men, but we have a dearth of men in the home for various reasons, typically because Black women are not actually actively trying to create families to have children in. They're having children, and it could be by anybody. Either they're having kids by men that they don't necessarily like, that they're not necessarily in relationships with, men that they might like a whole lot. They're having babies by men who are already married. They're having babies by men who, that just aren't together. These men are not fit to be fathers, and they're making them fathers. Men who want to be fathers and the women don't want them to be fathers to their children. All sorts of different dynamics. But what it boils down to is that these women are raising boys in their home, and they don't have any system, order, and structure to really truly raise these boys into young men. So what you have is you have a lot of out of control, emotionally unstable young men who don't have any guidance on how to be men. They just grow up chronologically, but they have to really pick their way through life, make a bunch of mistakes, hope those mistakes don't end their life, hope those mistakes don't cause them to go to prison and things like that, and basically ruin them. You hope that they're able to skate by and make these mistakes, and actually, as they get older, come to understand what it's supposed to be, what being a man is supposed to be, without the proper guidance from his home and in his neighborhood and from the culture, right? So this is what we're talking about, looking like the South Side of Chicago. This is how you end up with a war zone. This is how you end up with young Black men not understanding the codes of manhood, because what man has been there to teach it to them, right? And even if there are men who would want to be around to teach it, how many times are they obstructed by the chaos of their mothers? How many times? So this is an epidemic. This is something that he's completely right about. Handing the culture over to the women. Black culture is handed over to Black women, and we see it's not only is it trash, it's dangerous and it's toxic. And the biggest victim of it is Black men, because Black women's ire is aimed towards them. And they will utilize the environment, they will utilize culture, they will utilize their own biology and weaponize their sex against Black men. They'll weaponize, all of these things against Black men to get them in line or to make Black men conform or whatever it is that they're trying to accomplish. But no matter what they're trying to accomplish, it usually just ends up in Black men being at a severe disadvantage and a severe detriment dealing with these women.
Okay. Let me comment on that. Does anything she said make any sense? Don't everybody talk at once.
Okay, I don't want to be the only one saying something, but I totally disagree with her.
Why you say that?
Because while there is some truth on one level, it's looking at it to me, from a one-dimensional point of view. To me, it sounds like she's blaming Black women as a group for a
Right.
phenomena that has nothing to do with us, that didn't originate with us. There has been a systematic, since we got here, to break up the Black man and the Black woman for years. They've always tried to exhort us in order to minimize our Black men. Now, I'm not going to say that some Black women did not play into that.
Right.
And at the same time, I don't think that we can dismiss this foot that has been on our neck as a group to play this very role that we're seeing today. The Black woman has always served two things for their plan, which is that she's while she may be strong, she's considered weaker to the white man. She is unacceptable, but she's more acceptable than the Black man. And so this kind of slow progression of building this sort of narrative that the lady is talking about didn't originate with us. And there's a
Right.
lot of us that don't buy
Right.
into that, don't believe that. And I'm gonna say this, and I feel very passionate about this. I particularly chose not to have a child for my own personal reasons, because I was not married. I
Right.
wasn't going to do that. That's my personal choice. And I'm not the only one. But there's a
Right.
narrative, like I was saying earlier, that they want to put out there about who
Exactly.
we are. Look at the
Exactly.
women that they want us to look up to. Um, Condoleezza Rice,
Right.
who are
Exactly.
the lady's the vice president,
Right.
and the one that just put on the Supreme Court justice. While I admire their accomplishments,
Right.
and the things that they have done in their life as far as for their career, but then what is the other subliminal message they're trying to give us? Every last one of the women's with a white man.
Right.
And that
Exactly.
and that's one of the messaging that they want. All of a sudden, black women saving the Democratic Party, black women's gonna save the world, and all this shit. I'm tired
Right.
of hearing that. This
Right.
is not, that's not our message. That's their message. They want
Exactly.
us to know.
Right.
And I don't
Right.
believe in that.
Right. That's the trick to the matter is what you're saying is you a rare breed, but the majority of the people, like I'm saying with the MK Ultra thing, they bought into that. And so when you sitting there on the outside looking in, and you don't see it, but the narrative is the majority of them, they're not looking at it through the lenses you looking at it.
I
So just like with this prophets of awakening, as long as it's a little 4, 5, 6 people talking about it, it's cool. But let the majority get hold to it and find out exactly who JC is. You're gonna have a problem. So as long as they can keep it down in the mud, 2, 3 Negroes talking about it is cool. It's the same way with that. So
but
so like they work they patient like the Bible said, they raving wolves, they sitting in the background. So they started way back with this process with projects and housing where
right,
the man can't stay there.
right,
They started pecking on a little bit at a time until you got the type of women that this woman was talking about. You got you got
right,
you got virtuous and righteous women out there, intellectual women that don't deal with the white man, don't deal with the white folks. They're not being connected or controlled by them, but the majority is. That's all they want.
but at the same time though,
What you
I take,
saying?
yeah, I would say that at the same time though, there's this other thing that's out there too, that it's like when the children of Israel were in the forest, there's going to be a lot that's not going to see the promised land.
Right.
And there's a lot of
Exactly.
us,
Right. You're right.
or that's going to pass away for that few to come and replenish based on what that promise
Right.
is. I mean, and I'm just going to be
Exactly.
out for, I'm trying to learn. I may not be one of them, but I'm not going to ever let somebody else tell me who I am. I'm just not.
Right. Exactly.
And I'd rather
Right.
die than subscribe to that thought.
Right. But like I said, you got you got a rare breed out there, but everybody ain't like that. You know what I mean? They're not looking at it through lenses that you're looking at. You have to understand that. And that's like I said, they see that happening. Just like with it's a lot of black men, they ain't going for the okie doke. But you got a lot of them, they'll give them $75 or $7,500 or whatever. They'll jump off the World Trade Center.
Right.
But
But that's who they put their cameras on. They don't that's
right,
just like when they want to talk about, I mean, that's why they lost their mind when Bill Cosby came up with the Cosby show and the imagery, that because image, I mean, words matter, images matter, all of that matters. And they lost their mind over that. And so they went into hyperdrive. To me, I see it, I see the
right,
forest, not just the trees. And I see that they are showing their hand
exactly,
because they're putting out anything and everything to try to keep low people back to sleep and to keep this narrative in place. But it's
right,
not natural. It's not going to stay
right,
in
right,
place.
right. Right, and we ain't going back to sleep. It's like Pandora box. Once you open it up, they trying to close it back. You can't close it. Like I said, and then it's the Lord of hosts behind it. When he wake you up, and you can't put that person back in the box somewhere and put them in a corner once they wake up and see what's really going on. All they concerned about is it not catching, catching fire and from one person to the next. That's what they concerned about. That's what social media and all that's about. And all these goons and clowns that got these channels is just subvert the spirit of the Most High
Right.
when it's on the move. Yeah, and you have to walk around with that understanding because, like I said, you constantly got to be observing and constantly be checking yourself and checking out your surroundings around you. It's no room for you know for a la no more. You gotta be constantly on top of your P's and Q's on what's going on. And like you said, all hell from break loose. A lot of people don't understand that, but all hell from getting ready to break loose, and they gonna have to plan, just like World War I, World War II was planned. All hell broke loose. All that was planned. That's how they got back into the land of Israel, through those 2 wars, and consolidated all the money, tore everything up, then came back and received the money for rebuilding it. That's how they operate.
Their time is running short, though.
Oh yeah, right, exactly. That's the point. They got us dealing with a false narrative about the end times when we at everything that happened. Only thing left now is for him to judge them and bring us back. There ain't no Antichrist coming. He already came. All that stuff that happened. It's in Daniel. They created this New Testament and created this other narrative over here and got us listening to it. You know? Yeah. Is there something? Anybody else have any comments on that? Okay, everybody good? We right at hour and 15 minutes. We're trying to do an hour at least on Sunday evening to close out the Shabbat. Nobody have any comments or questions about about this morning, the Shabbat class, or last night? They want to get some clarity on? Okay. I'm glad you showed up, Tasha.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
You're gonna try to do that more often, right?
Yep, I am.
Okay. All right. So with that being said, I'm gonna say shalom to everybody, and glad you showed up. And I'll see everybody on Tuesday for our advanced Bible study on Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. Okay.
Shalom.
Let's say shalom, shalom, and another shalom.
Shalom, everyone.